Now. Okay. I hope we're actually live right now. Let's see. I think I'm on now. Okay. I think this is the right live stream. It did this before and it's because my browser was weird, but now I figured it out. I figured it out again because it's been a while since I've been on a live stream. But yeah, I'm just gonna wait until everybody's on. Gotta delete the other one, but yeah. How's everybody doing? Can you hear me? Or the one person that's in here, can you hear me good? Can you see me good? I'm not messing with freaky lighting like I did before. I'm gonna do just a regular standard lighting. Okay, let me see. Apologize for the lateness again because this live stream. Let me just delete the other one, and I think we should be good. Or let's see. Does it say that I'm live right now? Does this indicate that I'm live on the channel? Yeah, it says that I'm live on the channel. So, okay. You've made it 6 billion. Thank you for hopping in here and being patient with me because I'm new to live streaming. I only did the one other one, so I am not used to it. But let me make my screen a little bigger. Let me make this a little bigger. Let me make it a little wider. And so far, you're the only one in here. So, hello, welcome. Let me adjust my camera a little bit. Let me fix the door. And the door's fine. Fix the door. Get the door. Okay. So yeah, I mean, I just really wanted to do just a chat. We're 1 week out from Horror Nights. And I'll probably be saying that if some more people hop in here. But we are 1 week to Horror Nights, and I just want to talk about anything and everything. Yeah, I know, 6 million. You're the first one in here, so you deserve the medal for that one for hopping in here first. Yeah, for sure. But I just want to talk about anything and everything Horror Nights. So for anybody that has questions or just kind of topics that you want me to talk about, I'll probably wait a little while until maybe some more people hop in, or if it's just going to be us, no big deal. It's all good. I'm doing it at a different time, and I know there are other YouTubers doing live streams tonight, and in the next couple days. I know a lot of people are doing HHN live streams, so yeah, just adjust this a little more. I'm trying to see because my webcam's at the top of my desktop here. So, but yeah, I'm just I guess I could start by sort of talking about to the three people in here. You guys are getting a little bit of an early preview as to what's coming for next week. But next week, I'm planning on doing 3 videos next week, which I don't make that many normally. But I'm going tomorrow to shoot a video in the park. I'm going to be doing a tips video, my one and only tips video for Halloween Horror Nights, probably at least until the season actually starts. I don't want to do like a lot of tips videos because I feel like sometimes when you do tips videos, you don't know the specifics of it. It's like we don't have locations yet. We don't have like Stay and Scream yet. Like the specifics of where everything is and what houses are where. So I don't want to make videos and then be proven wrong. Literally the next day or the next week or whatever. 6 billion. I'll answer your question here. What's your number one most anticipated house this year and why? It's funny. So I was kind of deliberating that today. I originally, if you would ask me a week ago, or maybe even like a couple weeks ago, whenever everything got announced, I would have probably said Dueling Dragons, just for the fact that it's like an old park thing, and I think that's really cool that they're bringing in that kind of lore. But I don't know. I'm really thinking either that or Oddfellow. Those kind of switch back and forth just because I feel like Oddfellow, I'm so personally excited that Oddfellow is coming to the event this year. And the fact that we're getting like an icon house for him, and especially because we're getting one that's diving specifically into like the origin story. And I think with like all the hype and all the build up, seeing from the scare zone, seeing from just the other general construction that's been happening and the stuff they've been inserting into the podcasts and things like that. I'm really, really excited to meet Oddfellow. And I think this house is going to be a really interesting way to do it. So I'm going to say Dueling Dragons or Oddfellow are probably my two most anticipated, but it I'm excited for everything. That's the thing. I'm excited for all the houses this year, and things like that. So I don't really have like more definitive. I feel like Scare Zones. I'm a little more like I have a few more definitive answers for you when it comes to Scare Zones. But yeah, Dueling Dragons or Oddfellow. Just to answer that question, because I didn't want it to get lost in whatever, and I didn't want to get lost into what I was saying to actually answer some questions. So, um, going back to what I was talking about before was what was about the videos, like upcoming videos. So I have that tips video, tips like and updates, because I want to do like little updates here and there. There hasn't been a whole lot that's been coming out, like big stuff. More just little things that I haven't talked about yet. So doing like that kind of video, shooting that tomorrow, and then I'm gonna be covering the tribute store when that opens, so that'll be its own thing. That'll probably be my last update. But yeah, those will probably be my last two like update videos, and then I have one more scripted video planned to drop on next Friday, and I won't specify what that is, just to save it for a surprise. Okay, thoughts on Chucky being more of an original house concept? I love that. I love that they're doing it with that, because I feel like Chucky is one of those things that it's been at the event before a few different times, and they've done a few different sort of interpretations of it. I really like the last time they did it, when they did the scare zones with the scare zone over in Hollywood with the sort of like toys, like twisted toys. I think that was a really cool take for Chucky. But I think this is a really different sort of idea for Chucky, and I feel like it modernizes the character a little bit, like they did with the show, but also modernizes it in terms of like Halloween Hornets house, because you're kind of looking back at like tropes from Halloween Hornets houses, just in general, nothing specific, but like just as a haunted house in general, Halloween Hornets, and making fun of that. There's a lot of potential there to do something funny. I want to see if they have any interesting like dummies or scare effects, because they said that Chucky's gonna be killing like the characters and like the creative team and stuff like that. So I think that's really interesting, and I'm curious to see how those skills are going to be pulled off. Um, but yeah, definitely more excited for it than that. Although I would have been happy if they just done like a straight sci-fi adaptation, because I really like that show. I really enjoyed it, and it's one of my favorite Chucky things. Like that version of Chucky is probably my favorite version of Chucky, if you're going to ask me. But I'm also not a big Chucky fan, so you know that's I'm not the biggest like Chucky expert. I know some others will have more definitive opinions on that, but 6 billion. I'm really curious to see how graphic Oddfellow is. Podcasts make it sound like it more. Yeah, I mean, I think because he's dealing with a lot of like mutilation, so I think it's going to be very interesting. I don't think it's going to be like a funny carnival house. I don't at all. I think it's going to be a lot darker than you might expect. I think him as a character, I don't feel like we're really going to know how dark he truly is until we see it. So I'm definitely excited for that. I got a comment here. Question? What's the worst food dish you ever had at any HHN? I probably say the worst thing that I had wasn't bad. It wasn't like really like disgusting. Like it was fine, but it just wasn't something I was into. Like I can see where people might like it, and it was from last year. It was the like churro dog thing. It was like basically like a corn dog with cinnamon sugar on it, and you would, sometimes when they do those weird, like kind of combination foods, it's like, oh, you wouldn't expect it to be good, but it actually is good. I didn't get the maggot dog, which is like the maggot. It was just like the little like rice chips or whatever on the top, but that was when everybody was talking about. But the churro dog, it was just a thing that it was exactly what it sounded like. It was a corn dog with cinnamon sugar on top, and it was just like, I think I was also, because that day I think I meant to do a lot of like food tasting, and I was kind of sick of it by that point. So maybe that was also something that impacted it. But as I'm wearing the food shirt, I didn't even notice that. But yeah, that's probably the worst thing I've had. Best thing I've had, I think the best thing I've had. I mean, I'm like a Twisted Tater lover. That's like my favorite Halloween Horror Nights thing. I know it's pretty basic, but whatever. I think they're better than pizza fries. If you're gonna put the two together and you say you got to pick one, I'm picking Twisted Taters all the way. Pizza fries are good though, but I think like exclusive item last year, the zombie brains was really good. the zombie brains. There was like the fried cauliflower. That was really good in the meat locker section. Very interesting. I would love if they did something like that again because it was, I think, a very underrated item. Did you try the funnel fries last year? No, I did not. But I think they shared that they're going to be funnel fries this year. I think that was in a Horror Nights, like a tweet they did that. Maybe I'm wrong. But I thought I saw a picture of that Horror Nights when they did like a bunch of like, food promo. It's not at the Taste of Terror thing, but it was like one of those other promos they just throw out on Twitter. And I thought I saw some sour apple funnel fries, which that really piques my interest. I didn't try that much last year. So like it's kind of a thing that I haven't really tried much of the food at Halloween Hornet, so I'm not really like the best person to ask when it comes to that kind of stuff. But I know some other, I know other channels do the Halloween Hornets food more, and I do want to do it more this year. I do want to try more of the food and review it for you guys because I feel like I had a lot of missed opportunities last year when it came to the food, especially. But I wasn't really making videos then either, so. But no, I think the sour apple funnel fries, again, I have to see if that's a real thing. I don't know if I'm just imagining that or if that's something they actually posted, but those look really good. And a lot of the food this year looks really good, and I love how themed it all is. Like obviously you're gonna have your basic stuff, but they also have a lot of themed food this year that I'm really really excited for. So yeah. Um, as far as food goes, I think the things that I'm most excited to try, definitely a lot of the Last of Us food, just because I love the Last of Us food booths. I love how they're like really themed, and the stuff we've seen at the Taste of Terror was pretty good. So that it looked pretty good. So that's that. Um, Not really a big pineapple on pizza guy, so I don't know if the Surfer Boy thing is going to be my thing because it just looks like pineapple French red pizza. It doesn't really look like it's anything crazy, but the drink looks pretty interesting. And then the Chucky stuff. I wonder if they're going to bring back a couple of the same things they had last year. I know they had like the Wanna Play beignet, which was like a savory beignet. I don't really remember that one. And then they had like the Good Guy burger. So I think they might bring that stuff back. But I know they're probably going to have more new stuff just because they actually have Chucky this year. It's not just like a weird cross promotion thing. Which, side note, really thought they were going to do that with Five Nights at Freddy's this year. And I mean, they still could. I don't see where they're going to, but whatever. You never know. But I'm like, I was thinking, like, how cool would it have been if they made like some kind of Five Nights at Freddy's thing because the movie comes out in October. And I mean, I'm pretty sure this is just me. I don't know anything, but I mean, it has to be coming next year, right? They have to be doing Five Nights at Freddy's next year. There's no way they don't utilize that, especially because it's a Blumhouse property. I know the big Blumhouse thing this year was Exorcist, so I get them doing that this year and maybe saving Five Nights at Freddy's for next year if they're going to do that. But I think like I thought it'd be kind of cool, right? If they did like a cross promotion, almost like what they've been doing with Chucky, where they have like a photo op or a food booth or something small, just to get people to say, "Look, we have Five Nights at Freddy's stuff. Like, stop asking us to do Five Nights at Freddy's this year. It's not happening." You can kind of just have that instead, but that's just me. Um, so yeah, food stuff. Lots of new updates with the food booths. I will say, I'm not since I've been there. I don't think it's been like since I've made the video. They've added a lot of stuff with food, but yeah, exactly. They're gonna. I feel like you got to put something like whether it's like some merch, whether it's like I said, a photo op. Like it doesn't have to be like a huge push because you can save that. You can do what they did with Chucky and basically do this like we have a couple things. We maybe have a photo op or a food booth. I know they had the Rip Ride Rocket overlay for Chucky last year. That would be kind of fun if they did something like that, or just something simple, something totally simple. Maybe in the Peacock Bar, and like I said, there's still a way they can do that. It's not like this is it. Like we're not going to see it. I was for sure thinking that the one over by Mel's, the bar there, that's got that like checkered. It's like a checkered with a blue background. It kind of looked like a Freddy Fazbear, like Friday Nights at Freddy sort of design, but I don't think that is going to be the case. I feel like it's going to be more because that's going to be like themed to some kind of like Mel's die-in, because the Mel's I don't think is going to be open during Halloween Horror Nights. I hope they put the sign up. I hope they leave the Mel's die-in sign up and lit because you got to have that, right? That you don't have to have the restaurant open to have that. You got to have the Mel's die-in sign. It's a classic part of HHN, and it would be very sad if we didn't see it this year. But maybe they use that bar sort of to serve that sort of food that what you might get from Mel's. But no, I thought it was going to be Five Nights at Freddy's at first. 100%. I thought it was going to be some kind of Five Nights at Freddy's, um, something just like a food booth or something. But Peacock Bar I think would be a good place for that. And speaking of the Peacock Bar, that's one that I'm still kind of curious about. Kind of curious about what they do with the Peacock Bar. Harry, thanks for joining, Harry. Yeah, I mean, it was a pretty late. I will admit, it was an impromptu because I was like, I'm in between videos right now, and I have enough time to pop on here for a little while and do a live stream because normally I'm editing like at this time, so I'm like normally just grinding through a recording or editing. So yeah, it's I'm doing this because I don't really have the it's not that I don't have the time otherwise, but I have time now. So I'm like, well, might as well do a live stream. And, it's the weekend, have some fun, do some HHN chat, especially because we're 1 week out. I think that's another thing too, is I was like, I want to do one before HHN. Definitely. I might do another one, maybe if I can find a pocket of time between videos next week, sometime to do a live stream before HHN. But yeah, 1 week away. Definitely hoping Peacock Bar. I think it'll be interesting. I know everybody's talking about the David S. Pumpkins thing, and that would be really cool. But I'm also just curious of what else they do. Because Hollywood's rumored to get that like Blumhouse behind the scenes production. They have like that Purge show, both of which are still rumors, are still speculation. It's not like confirmed yet. But them doing more like Blumhouse, not just like a specific IP, but like let's celebrate Blumhouse, let's celebrate the studio. Makes me wonder if they're going to do something like that with the Peacock Bar here. Maybe have some like characters from past houses that are on, movies that are on Peacock. Like I know in Hollywood they mentioned The Purge and they mentioned Chucky based items. So I'm expecting we're going to see The Purge and Chucky based items here. But I'm curious if they do. Like, I think this would be a perfect place to put Megan. Honestly, I know they are still talks about that horde, and it's not like not confirmed yet, obviously, because the event hasn't happened. But like, I feel like it would be better to do Megan over here as like a photo op versus like dedicate an entire horde to her. I mean, I'm just not the biggest Megan fan. I'll just admit it. So I'm not like, if you're a big Megan fan, it can be fun either way. But I think this would be a good place for Megan because it's a character that may not be able to support a whole entire horde, but could do well in the Peacock Bar. Free Dracula, welcome to the stream. Have you seen some of the new HHN Hot Topic merchandise? I'm so obsessed with the bag. So yeah, I was actually looking at that last night. They have a few designs back. So HHN Hot Topic, they've been doing merch. I think they did some last year with icons and with like Bride of Frankenstein. And they had a couple. They had like the chainsaw pumpkin from HHN2, the first Halloween Horror Nights. They had that on a shirt, and they had, like I said, icon shirts and stuff. Now they're having some more icon merch with this bag. Yeah, there's like a backpack. It's like a Loungefly backpack with the icons on there. And then Frankenstein. I don't have like a screen capture, so I can't I'd pull it up. But also Hot Topics website for me is very like not easy to navigate. But they also have like some like just generic Halloween Horror Nights merch. It's nothing like specific to this year. It's usually all like older designs they're bringing back. But that bag is really nice. And it makes me wonder if like, now Universal's starting to get into like Loungeflies and like, with the Minions, they had a lot of Minions Loungeflies for the new ride. I'm like, why don't we get some Halloween Horror Nights Loungeflies? I think it would just be good for, I feel like both properties would benefit from it. I mean, I'm not really a Loungefly wearer, but I mean, for people that are, I think that would be awesome. I know Knott's just got a really cool looking one for their 50th anniversary, which that looks crazy. I wish I can go out there for that, but I can't. But it looks really, really cool. But yeah, no, I think the new HHN Hot Topic stuff is cool. I feel like it's kind of getting lost in the all the wave of just the regular Halloween Horror Nights merch, which looks great. All the new stuff, I really like all of it. I was someone who I didn't really think. I didn't really think that it was going to be. I'm reading Harry's joke. Didn't know about HHM merch being a store. Must not be a very hot topic. Okay. Funny, funny. Harry's always got some funny jokes. I will say, I laugh at your comments a lot. But um, I was just saying, what was I saying? I literally, oh, the new HHM merch, like the stuff that's is Harry threw me off. But on the website, they have a lot of new merch, and I think it all looks fantastic. I'm excited to get it. My wallet's not, but I am. Um, Tyler, I can't believe it's almost here. They'll have to wait until the 7th. Well, I'm sorry for you. I'm sorry they have to wait until the 7th, but it's still exciting that it is so close because the 7th is only a week after next. So that's when I think that's when Halloween starts. It starts the next week, next Friday. But dope. I'm very excited. I think the week is going to go by really fast and really slow. I think it's going to be a bit of both. I know we also in Florida here are like there's supposed to be some kind of like storm here, and I really hope it passes through before we get anywhere near Friday. Um, and I just want to see spoilers, but I can't help myself. Do you so you want oh you don't I was about to say I was like you want to see spoilers no I know I'm gonna have to be very very weary of what I see because employee preview night I believe is the 30th, so it's 2 days before HHM begins and I don't want to see really anything. The one thing I really don't want spoiled is Oddfellow. Like everything else it's fine, but Oddfellow I want to get like that reveal when I'm there, and I'm gonna probably be off of Twitter and Instagram for a good amount of time after that drops, just because I don't want to be spoiled. There you go, I got a Twitter notification right there. I don't want to be on Twitter once they get that stuff dropped because I don't want to get any spoilers. I know like they won't spoil the houses. I mean, they might not spoil as many houses. I don't know. People sometimes try to record inside. We won't see the recordings until after opening night anyway, so it won't be a big deal. But I'm very weary. I'm gonna have to tread lightly. Last year I didn't really care. I was just like, because I didn't go the first weekend. I went the 10th. I think that was when I went for the first time. So I already seen videos of everything. And I mean, it won't like for me, it won't ruin it. But I mean, there's some stuff I want to save. I want to be able, like I said, I want to see Oddfellow for the first time because like for me, I've been so excited since they had that static video and everybody was saying like, is it Oddfellow? Is Oddfellow really happening? And it's like, it's like I want to get that experience for myself and be able to see that. Although nothing will compare to being there. Like for the Pumpkin Lord last year, when I went for the first night last year, I was not doing Stand Scream. I was outside, so we went straight in and we saw the Pumpkin Lord ceremony. I barely saw it because we were kind of far back in line, but it didn't compare to like actually going up and seeing like the huge display. 6 billion. I normally like to read some stuff, so I know what to expect for certain effects to look for, but I don't really want too many pictures. Yeah, I feel like that's different. Like I think I read some stuff beforehand, before like way before I went, before I saw any videos. And I was like, kind of like, oh, do I watch videos? Do I wait? And I was just like, whatever. But reading, I feel like reading is one thing because, like, I mean, I've already technically gotten some spoilers because I've listened to all of the podcasts and all the podcasts, at least like the main podcasts where they do kind of the house roundup. Those have, I think, a couple very, very light spoilers, but they're still technically spoilers. It's not like completely spoiler free. So I feel like I would like to just avoid as much spoilers as possible. So I try not to see pictures because they could say we have plant hybrids in the jungle of doom scare zone. It's like, well, yeah, that was kind of what we were expecting, or whatever character, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh, it's so and so is here. Okay, I mean, that's kind of what we've been talking about. We've been talking about it since they started building it. But it's one thing to then have a picture of it and you're like, oh, well, that's not the best, you know? Last year was the first time I hadn't gone on opening night in a decade and waiting 3 weeks to avoid spoilers. Yeah, that's tough. I can't even imagine 3 weeks. Because the thing is, at that point, all the videos are out and like all the POVs are out too. It's like you have all the opening night, the people that got invited to media night who were filming the videos, and it's like, yeah, I mean, I can't even imagine. Because at least with employee preview night, like I said, you don't get to get the house footage yet. So people could say, "Oh, I went through Oddfellow, it was great," or "I went through, Darkest Deal and it was great," but you're not going to really get that full effect. So that's tough. That was tough for sure. Did you do Taste of Horror? No, I did not. I kind of regret not doing it, but what happened was it was for me, it was a more of a money thing, and it was in between getting that or doing unmasking tours. And for me, the unmasking tours are more worth it. For one, my first Halloween Hornets video ever on here was an unmasking horror tour video. I mean, it was like only last year, but still, it was my first video. So I really, really like doing those unmasking the horror tours. I think they're really fun, and I'm doing the 6 house tour this year, and that was what it was, because it was like $40 more than it normally is. So I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, I won't be able to do probably Taste of Terror, and this was before they had done like the non-alcoholic version, and I still couldn't even find that on the website. They said that they had that. They said they had that on like option, and I didn't really even see it. So yeah, I was between the 6 house tour and the Taste of Horror, and I'd rather do the 6 house tour because I'll check out the food eventually. What day are you doing the tour? I'm doing it on October 27th. It's near the end because I waited until I can manage it, until I was able to afford it, and I was also like kind of debating whether I was going to do it or not. I was like, do I want to? I really wanted to wait until the house lineups dropped. That was more what it was. It was like, do I want to do it and not know, or no? And then once they said Dueling Dragons, Stranger Things, Chucky, and Unmasked, Universal Monsters Unmasked, I was like, those 4 Dueling Dragons was really it for me. That was what sold me on the 6 house, because I was like, there are going to be so many great Easter eggs in there. I can already tell you just because of the nature of it, and I think that it's going to be great to see that. So definitely going to be a video on that for sure. Going to be doing a video on the Unmasked and the Horror Tour this year, but I'm so excited for everyone going this year. Yeah. It's definitely exciting. I was debating whether I was going to try to make a 3-house work as well, because I wanted to do Oddfellow as well. But I don't know. I'm still debating on that one. That one's Oddfellow, Last of Us, and Darkest Deal. Mostly I'll be doing it for Oddfellow, but Last of Us is also very cool. Yeah, Tyler, thinking about doing the 3 houses, exactly what I just said. So doing the 6-house tour, congrats. That's exciting. Yeah, I'm gonna do it differently than I did it last year, though. If any of you have seen that first video, it was me putting it together. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't like have like a style figured out yet. So it's gonna be a lot better. It's gonna be a lot cleaner. It's gonna be a lot more like my style now. So definitely excited for that. Chunky Kong. A lot of people are saying that Oddfellow won't be recognized as an icon in the future, but it's because he wasn't in any promo material really. I think that for me, even before the whole like discourse happened of whether Oddfellow was an icon, he was an icon to me, for me, because like bro's got a house, a whole scare zone, appearing in every other scare zone. A lot of the lore is tying back to him. We may even see him in the houses in some capacity, in the originals at least, not the IPs. Yeah, pretty odd. I think it's weird that we haven't seen him in a video yet, and like any kind of like marketing in that perspective. But I think it's also because a lot of the times when they shoot the videos, like if you've noticed, the Exorcist, Last of Us, Stranger Things, and then the most recent Scream Squad video, it is they shoot the same videos for both coasts, right? And they're the exact same, pretty much the exact same videos that they shoot for both coasts. In some cases, the exact same. They just slap Hollywood and slap Orlando at the end. But so I feel like I understand kind of why they might not shoot a whole Oddfellow commercial, although it would be very cool, and I think it'd be great for us, for the fans. I'm not going to completely discount it though, because I think that he 6 billion, saying like, so curious if he'll pop up in a surprise commercial. I really could see that happening. I could see them doing a surprise commercial with Oddfellow, something that's more like on the level of like something that's more made for the fans. Something like the Do Not Watch video is a great example. That wasn't made for like event marketing, but it was made for the fans. And I feel like they could do that for the fans. But the thing is that Oddfellow, a lot like the other icons, I feel like they might, and I don't know who said this. I might have been Brian from Orlando. It was somebody who said this, is like they also would have to nail a specific person to play Oddfellow, and that would be very hard to do that and keep the consistency going if they're going to use him multiple years. I don't think Oddfellow is going away after this year. I think Oddfellow, for as much emphasis they're putting on Oddfellow this year, on the merch, on in the houses and the scare zones and this and that, and especially bringing him and bringing up Jack and saying Jack, 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 like I think they're going to reunite at 35 or whenever Jack comes back. I mean, probably at 35. They like to save him. But doing those two or having them connect in some fashion, I don't know how it would be if they're going to be fighting. I know some people have said that. That would be very interesting. But I think that's a good chunk of the reason because of just like the way the marketing works. And I don't know. I can't like say this is exactly how Horror Nights marketing is because I have no clue. I don't work there, but that's just my perspective. But I do think there's a possibility of him being there somewhere. Like maybe you might see him, a guy walking around with a hat in his hand or a cane or something. Like you might not see him, but you'll know it's him or something. I don't know. That's just me. I'm just rambling at this point. Let's see. We got some comments here. Oddfellow is 100%, 100 million% an icon. Marketing probably won't let him be in the lantern. A huge upgrade from Pumpkin Lord. Yes, 100%. Pumpkin Lord, I feel like I was worried they were going to do him like they did Pumpkin Lord, where he's there and he's like, great, okay, I'm here. I'm going to sell some t-shirts and then I'm going to dip and I'll have 5 lines and I'm going to dip. Nothing wrong with that. I like Pumpkin Lord. He was a great addition to the event last year. Why did I get so washed out? But yeah, he was a great addition to the lineup. I don't know. That was just crazy. But yeah, no, I really just wish, I wish that he had a full moment, and I think he's definitely going to get that moment this year. And plus, Mike Aiello said he was an icon. So there you go. That's all the answer you need. Anyway, like how that commercial ended at Madame Spot, Madame Bazile. I don't know how to say that. I'm usually pretty good with pronunciations, but if anybody knows, leave it in the chat. But I think that that's great. I love that they're tying it all in like that, and I didn't expect out of my bingo card of things that happen at Halloween Horror Nights this year. I did not expect Madame Bazile's spot to be the spot where things were going to happen this year. I did not think that was going to happen, but after we saw the card in the window, and now of course we saw her in the Oddfellow store, in the All Hallow Eve store, and then now of course in the commercial. Very interesting. I like that. Tyler, with this age of media, people talking about on social media is the way people making videos about him. Yeah, exactly. Like the video that's on the channel right now. If you haven't checked it out, go check it out. Oddfellow is finding his own way to be an icon. Yeah, I think that's how it goes, though. I think I might have said this in the last stream that like I'm talking about myself and I know there are other Horror Nights creators in here. 6 Billion, the theme park dude. I know we make videos on this stuff. So it's like we kind of do that promo for them. So it's like not for them, but we do like kind of talk about it. It's like they have the podcast, and that's fantastic. I love what they're doing at the podcast. And I feel like that's a much more social media savvy way to do the marketing, because I feel like it's something a lot of people listen to podcasts. And for me, I put them on. For me, I'm looking at them to do research for videos. So I'm not like passively listening to podcasts for Halloween Horror Nights, like a podcast like this. I'm like, I pull up the transcript. I'm reading it to see if there are any like, oh, here's a name of somebody, or here's this. I'm like looking for possible video material. If possible, like, oh my god, this is interesting. I made a video on this. But I think they're really well produced, and I think they're exactly what we kind of need right now. I mean, as much as I would love some visuals, hey, I love visuals. That'd be really great. Some videos. The podcasts are doing good. I think they're really doing good. And the last one just came out, the Dueling Dragons one, which had a Poseidon's Fury Easter egg. So that can be something we talk about. Maybe Poseidon's Fury house. I know Losh said that in his video. He wanted a Poseidon's Fury themed house. Okay, let's go down. My question is also, does this event take place in present time? Like, is Oddfellow Alive currently is the same time as Jack? Yeah, they are. This is present time, because it basically says that he died in 2007, was transported to this sort of zodiac realm and did a bunch of stuff in there. We don't know what it is yet. And then he's come back. So yes, he's in the present, but we're going to the past for his house. Poor Bone was relegated to a scare zone in the front. Yeah, sad story with that guy, man. I wish they would do Bone. They would do like a Bone thing. I don't know why they didn't just like. I feel like he was kind of. It was always like kind of like Dia de los Muertos adjacent. Like it kind of reminded me a lot of it, and like I'm not saying everything has to be like connected to that, but like I'm saying like I think it would be interesting if they did something with Bone. Like do something with him. Theme park dude. Someone working in the Oddfellow house told me they had a clothes rack in the window that check the clown outfit with like the original. What am I saying? I'm not even reading. I'm reading it in my head and I'm not reading it out loud. Someone clothes rack outside inside the house with the original Jack the Clown outfit with like the legitimate one worn by the actor. That would be great. I know. Was it Puppet Theater that had it in 30? I think it was Puppet Theater that had. I don't know if that was. I didn't do the tour for that, but I think that was the one worn. I know it was like the Jack outfit. I don't know if it was the one worn by James Keaton or not. But yeah, very interesting. I mean, he's supposed to be there. He's supposed to be in the house. So I don't know. Wish Pumpkin Lord. Oh wait, sorry. Talking about still waiting for that Nathaniel Crow promo. Me and you both, buddy. Me and you both waiting for Nathaniel Crow to have his moment. Maybe next year. I wish Pumpkin got a house again in 31. I almost wish they would have saved Wicked Growth for 31 and made it a de facto icon house. Yeah, I'm like looking back, I think that would have been a really good idea. But I think the part of the reason they chose the Pumpkin Lord for 31 was because of the success of that house and like Lil Boo, coming out of like the Wicked Growth, even though Lil Boo existed before that. But yeah, I do wish they would have saved it in like retrospect or like done a sequel because I know they talked about doing Wicked Growth 2 last year. It was speculated for a while. I mean, the podcasts are absolutely amazing, even though last year's stories sometimes did match up with the houses. Yes, I really hope that's not the case this year. And I don't think it will be because I feel like this year is so much more lore heavy than it was last year. For real. I feel like last year's there were like characters that were like had different names and they were like, this is so and so and this doesn't even matter. So I really hope that they do good by the podcasts, and I think they will. Like obviously Oddfellow, that's a big one. You can't really mess that up because that's like the whole event lore. Darkest Deal, I'm excited to see where that goes because they introduced that new character in there. I can't remember his name, but the other like the Spanish musician that had the experience with the Collector. I still think the Collector's Oddfellow. I think the Collector's Oddfellow. I think the Collector's Oddfellow, or yeah, I think he is because it's like he's a very ambiguous kind of guy, and he kind of gives off the personality of Oddfellow. So that is another theory, all completely. Storybook Amusement, shout out Science Fury, shout out Science Fury. Hey, that's one of the greatest walkthroughs I ever made. And it would be great as a Horror Nights house. Just saying, guys. Dude, Blood Moon's podcast brought it from bottom 3 hype to top 4 for me. Story sounds so great and strangely funny. That is very interesting because I kind of feel the same way about Blood Moon. Now, it's still near the bottom of my hype list, but I'm more excited about it now that we know kind of what the story is versus before when we didn't. Like when we were kind of like going, oh, it's just like a colonial moon worshippers. Now that we know it's kind of like a Romeo and Juliet, kind of like a love thing, 2 families and things like that. That's very interesting. And I hope we see them in the house, the characters that they sort of specified. I won't like do too many spoilers if you guys want to listen to that, if you haven't listened to it already, but okay, I gotta go back in the chat. There's lots of chats here. Gets me hyped for the event. Going to the backstory is so nice going to the houses. Absolutely. Present day. Maybe if the wagon wheel be told about Oddfellow's travels, then you'll enter the Zodiac and go back in time. That's the thing. I think that's going to be the key. Because you say, how can the Oddfellow, like for my theory about the Collector, how can Oddfellow be the Collector if that's in the 30s? Well, I mean, he could have shapeshifted, I guess, in that time. But, okay, time travel could be a way that they bring Oddfellow back into each of the houses. Because here's the thing. All the houses really have a distinct time period around them. The only one that's a little more ambiguous is Dueling Dragons because that's not like in our world. But 1700s for Blood Moon, 1950s for Yeti, 30s, like 20s, 30s for Darkest Deal, 30s for Oddfellow, obviously, and then whatever ambiguous fantasy medieval time for Dueling Dragons. So I wonder if that's going to be the key, if the Zodiac is going to be the key. And we also have 1940s for Shipyard, 1920s for Jungle of Doom, 1960s for Vamp 69. Oddfellows is not specified. Zark Zodiac's not specified. So maybe that's like the tie. Maybe that is true, Tyler. It might be that. So that is something to think about. Do you think Jack will be the icon for the next HHN due to Oddfellow being this year's icon? I don't think Jack will be back next year. But for 35, I think Jack will be back. I think next year, I don't know. Let's make Nathaniel Crow the icon next year. Let's do that, guys. Let's make it happen. F in the chat for Bone. Absolutely. Absolutely 6 billion. How did you see the medallion that was spotted backstage? I did. I personally am not going to share the picture just because we're so close out and no reason to be sharing photos like that are backstage. No reason for that. We're going to see it in a couple days. But it's pretty cool. It is very pretty cool. Very pretty cool. That's not an actual word. Very nice. I'm really excited to see how they're going to do the posters this year. I would love if they put an Oddfellow poster out there because they had it for icons. I think it'd be cool. And it'd be cool to fill out each of the little sections of the arches. They have, Exorcist, Chucky, Stranger Things, Last of Us, Monsters, and Oddfellow. They have six sections, 6 posters. I think that'd be pretty cool to fill everything out. Last year, it was weird because it wasn't fully filled out and it was not very aesthetically pleasing. But Jacob, yes, I did see it. HHN hype, woohoo. Yep, we're all hyped about it. That was the most unenthusiastic. Hello, yeah, I'm very excited. That makes a lot of sense. What is HHN Hollywood's theme? So they don't really have a theme, as far as I know. I'm not as much of a Hollywood. I'm not like a Hollywood visitor. I've never been to HHN Hollywood, but I can kind of gather this. It's less of like the theme and more of the IPs because they have all the IPs we have plus Evil Dead. And then they also have Monsters of Latin America, right? Monsters of Latin America, and then Holidays in Hell, and then also the Terror Tram. So I think that theirs is more like if they're going to do a theme, it's going to be like Legends, which is what I thought our theme was going to be. I thought it was just going to be Legends. I did not think we were going to get Oddfellow as an icon or anything. I originally was thinking Legends, like like the Yeti and the sort of like witches thing or whatever Blood Moon is, like like just kind of like historical legends and that sort of theme. But of course now we're getting Oddfellow. But I think that's kind of the vibe that I'm getting from Hollywood. It's like the Legends theme. And of course they have like the Aztec Momias Scare Zone and then the Dolls Scare Zone, which is going to be in the front, which has already been setting up. It looks really interesting. I'm theorizing Nathaniel Crow could be tied in the backstory of Pumpkin Lord. Yes, I said jokingly that he is the Pumpkin Lord, but seriously, I do think there's a tie there because he was in the house. Nathaniel Crow was in Wicked Growth. So I think that would be my thing. Is like if they were to do a Pumpkin Lord sequel, doing it with Nathaniel Crow would have been great. But that wasn't the aim. I don't know what I was trying to say. The aim last year. But yeah, hoping they do more Nathaniel Crow in the future. Here's insanely fleshed out. Yeah, I see another comment of like HHN getting their footing back, them taking the comments hard and sort of changing it. I do think that that's true. I think the last couple years, even though, HHN30 had its, I think, I don't know about this year, but I think as of the past couple years, HHN30 has had the best slate of originals. Bar none. We had Revenge of the Tooth Fairy, Wicked Growth, Carrie, Ohio, Icons Captured. We had Case Files. We had Puppet Theater. Those are great. Like, that's a great lineup. It's a good, maybe if not every house was like a super big winner, but I feel like original wise, I feel like that one, at least out of the last 4 or 5 years of HHN. And I feel like last year had a lot of wins, but I feel like also a lot of bald spots for people. And a lot of like sort of not really the best houses for some people. Again, I liked what I saw last year, but I think that is I think that's what happened. So I think they're definitely changing that with this year, making something more oriented to both the fans. You have the fan stuff with Oddfellow and Dueling Dragons and Yeti and stuff like that, but then you also have the general public with stuff like stuff like this, stuff like Chucky, stuff like Last of Us. So big ideas and big popularity all around. Been trying to understand and tie together the lore of HHN. Yeah, I do. Theme Park Dude has a new HHN lore Twitter. If you want to put that in the chat, go follow that Twitter. It's very interesting to check out the lore. I'm a lore nerd, so it's great to see it in the Twitter. It's crazy and expansive and so interesting. Yes, exactly. Does anyone think the icons have been forgotten about the fan base? Yeah, I actually did a video on it, like kind of the forgotten icons. Some of the ones I didn't talk about, like I didn't talk about Lady Luck, but I did talk about Bloody Mary. Storyteller is one that I think has a lot of room for expansion. I think a lot of the mid 2000s icons, like I think Jack is fleshed out. Caretaker also pretty fleshed out. The Usher fleshed out to a point. Director, storyteller, I think they could be fleshed out more. I think we could see more of the backstory. We have the backstory, but we could see more of it. I mean, the Caretaker too. But I think a lot of the characters, you could do a whole event just expanding on these icons, and I think that would be a great like avenue if they wanted to do like the origin stories of the icons, kind of doing what they're doing with Oddfellow and going back to saying, okay, how did the director get his start? How did the Usher, like, let's see the events of the thing, like actually playing out more, the events of the Phantom of the Opera night, and the storyteller, how did what's like the story, and what happened once she got sort of the confrontation with the demon that gave her her like sort of powers or whatever. I think that would be very, very interesting. What scare zones are connected to Chef Kiss? Absolutely. I'm so excited for how the scare zones are all connected. I can't wait to see all of them at night because they're looking good. I think all the scare zones are really looking good. The only one I'm kind of a little still mixed about is Dark Zodiac. I think that one's still a little, I don't know yet. It's not something that I'm like completely like, this sucks, this is not going to be good, because any of them can be good, any of them could be bad. But I think that the Dark Zodiac one, I'm waiting to see if there's going to be any more expansion for that one. But the rest of them are really, really detailed and fleshed out and have a lot of sets. Vamp 69 has really grown on my sort of hype list. And we have what's the Shipyard? Shipyard looks kind of like a surprise. That one looks really cool. I like how that one's coming around. And Jungle of Doom's beautiful. And also Oddfellow. I mean, even though it's a small scare zone, I think it's going to pack a punch. Enough for a front scare zone. I wonder if there's any of the Collector as the next icon. I don't know about the Collector as the next icon. But I don't know if they're setting him up as the next icon, but I do think it's a character that could weave itself in and out. It could be like a sub icon or like a Boris Schuster kind of character where he kind of appears here and there, but he's not like an icon. I don't know. Maybe. A friend of mine theorizes if Fear and Oddfellow could be the same person. I disagree and believe Oddfellow. Yeah, I don't think Oddfellow is Fear because I don't know. Because Fear kind of has the power over Oddfellow or Jack. Like Fear kind of has, like Jack's bound by the lantern, right? So like, yeah, he escapes it, but like, it's not like I feel like Oddfellow would go after Jack, especially because at this point, when Fear was introduced in 2010, Jack had already killed Oddfellow in the canon. It would be really weird. I don't think that that's really connected. I kind of agree with the Theme Park Dude. I don't think that the Fear and Oddfellow connection's really there. Fear is a minion for Oddfellow. See, I know Theme Park Dude said this. I think Oddfellow, I think might be trying to come after Fear's spot. Honestly, if they're going to continue this lore, if this is not just a one and done, I think that Fear and Oddfellow. I was thinking about this the other day too. Like, if Oddfellow were to take on the icons, who would be able to hold their own? I feel like Jack, obviously, because they're like, it's like a Harry Potter Voldemort kind of thing where they're like bound to each other's existence. I feel like they're connected in ways more than one. But you have that one. And then I feel like Fear could hold his own pretty well. But I think there's some that I'm like, yeah, the director is getting cooked. Like there's no way, that was just a random shower thought, or I think it was random driving thought. And I was like, who would be able to overpower that? Well, the new commercial, the symbol in Madam's shop is able to transport the Scream Squad to different places. So maybe Oddfellow works close with her. I know it's a reach, but you never know. That is, I don't think that's too much of a reach because there's those signs of like, Madame Bazile is gone. We'll be back soon. We'll be back soon. What's she doing? Where's she at? With Oddfellow, probably. So I don't think that's too weird of a reach. I don't think that's really a reach. I think that could happen. She's summoning a portal. She's creating portals. I mean, Oddfellow has created portals, and he's gone through portals from realm to realm. So I mean, it kind of gives me like a Bloody Mary kind of vibe. But I know we're not supposed to say her name, but like the way the collector is spoken kind of gives me vibes of fear. Yeah, he does give me the vibes of fear. Does give me the vibes of fear, for sure. I hope they have Oddfellow driving around the back lot. Oh, like roaming around. I don't think he'll be around backstage, just because I feel like Jack's more of that like kind of vibe. If they could do it, they can't. But if they could, Chucky backstage. That's all I'm going to say about that. They can't. There's no way. But if they could. And there's that piece of merch. Oh, yeah. So kind of going back to the Nathaniel Crow thing. I know, Harry, you mentioned this in the community tab. Definitely possibility. I think it's very interesting. This everything with Nathaniel Crow. And I don't know. I think he's not. I don't think it's over. I don't think we know everything. 31 had a ton of huge swings and kind of crazy misses, but I thought it was a strong year. It's shocked we didn't see. I think this year they kind of wanted to play it safe. I think last year, I think the experimentation is coming from the originals, Nate. I feel like it's gonna be like Dungeons and Dragons is very experimental. I think that is that, and the fact that we're getting a new icon after so many years of there not being an icon, and really like this, it's been have an icon like Oddfellow and the reach that he has. We haven't seen that since I think Lady Luck, So I don't know if that's. I feel like it's been a long time for that. So I feel like the originals are a little more on the experimental side, more than the properties. The properties are very safe, but they're crowd pleasers. You have Chucky, Last of Us, Stranger Things, Monsters. What's the other one? Exorcist. I feel like that's the only kind of like weird one, but it's also in Universal's pocket, so it's not that strange. So we have some Dark Zodiac talk here. I know 6 Billion says I'm Team Dark Zodiac. Yeah, I want to be Team everything. 6 Billion. I want to be Team everything, and I'm just personally not there yet. Like Jungle of Doom, I was kind of like that too. I was like, okay, this looks cool. It looks cool, but I'm not like here. But like once they put that plane in there, I was on board. So and then Shipyard with HHN Crane. Shout out to HHN Crane. Shout out to that hashtag. I haven't put it in a video because I haven't seen it yet. So let's go up here. The aesthetic choice, Rusty Metal. I feel like it kind of reminds me of Nightmare Fuel. I kind of get the Nightmare Fuel vibe from, which would be great if they did like a Zodiac themed Nightmare Fuel. That would have been awesome. I feel like that would have been a great way to tie it together. Because I feel like this is like, I feel like it can kind of work. I don't know. It kind of like feels like it could connect well if they were to connect them, but they're not going to. I don't think they're going to. I don't know. Revenge Dream isn't out yet, but we can hope it maybe. I hope one day you see something like Vamp 34. That's a strange year, but very nice. Vamp 34 with a Great Depression vampire event thing. It could be very interesting. I think the Great Depression was in the 1930s. I'm not American. Yes, so you're right, Harry. It was in that early 1930s. That's I think probably a perfect year because I think that's like right kind of in the middle of it when it was at its peak. Very interesting. I feel like they have done the Depression in quite a while, like the Great Depression. They did it with Scarecrow, and then they did it again with Scarecrow last year, and then Oddfellows is also in the Great Depressions in the like late 1930s. I would love to see if they did like a Vamp 25. I think that would have been really, really cool if they did like a Vamp 25, like a Great Gatsby, Flappers, Prohibition vampires. I mean, I know they did it with Spirits of the Coven with witches, but I mean, like Vamp style. Do like a Great Gatsby party with vamps and do it like you could reuse a lot of those Spirits of the Coven sets. I don't know. I think that'd be really cool. Save them out on the hotline. Shout out to the hotline. In the chat. From what I can recall, Jack Kelly Oddfellow in 2007 changed for him. Yeah, exactly. 6 billion. This is like, I think he could have had some. I think Madame Bazile is going to be more important than we think because she's everywhere. and they wouldn't just put it there just to put it there. I don't think you know what I'm saying. I don't think they just drop it just to drop it, because that's a kind of an obscure item. So definitely think that it's going to be somewhat important, and I feel like what we're kind of saying with Madame Bazile helping out Oddfellow, I think that'll work. I think that'll work a lot if that's the case. Do you see the cork on the barrel in the Oddfellow scares? Yeah, the HHN23 cork, and it's now gone. Very interesting. It says I have some theories. Um, I don't know. I don't know. It's so weird because that's such a weird. Like, I mean, obviously that was what 10 years ago. So, and then there was the tagline of like, "What evil has taken root?" Right that year. I'm trying to think of what other like ties we have to HHN23. I don't know. Theme Park Dude, leave your theories in the chat because I want to know what your theories are. I don't really have any theories, but maybe we could bounce off. Originals definitely are sounding very high concept with this huge W. Yes, huge W indeed. And they made I just said this. I didn't say this before, but they actually made an originals shirt, like a shirt that has the originals from the store. They have like these giant posters that are almost like tarot cards with the originals characters. You have like the collector on there, Yeti, Oddfellow, and they made a shirt out of it. So it really tells you they're going to be going with the originals. They're going to really be hyper focusing on the originals this year. I'm still a bit surprised that they went for the video game version of Last of Us, but I'm all for it. Honestly, that was the biggest surprise reveal for me this year. Yeah, I think that the Last of Us being the game, honestly, I'm more excited for it now that we've seen the food booths. It sounds weird, but the food booths have gotten me more hyped because I'm like, if the theming is on the same level as the food booths, or I guess it should be in reverse. If the food booths are on the same level of theming as the house, we're looking at a very, very well themed haunted house here with a lot of intricate details. And I feel like with both Stranger Things and Netflix, we're having this thing. Sorry, I got a notification. We're having this like this thing where you have these big properties, these third parties. These are like really the only third party properties this year because Chucky, Exorcist, and Monsters are all kind of in house. You're having this attention to detail that I feel like this is going to be something that they like, something they're going to want to. I don't know why I said that. Something like detail. Like they're going to want to put a lot of detail in here because you have these big properties that a lot of fans are going to be mad if you mess them up. And I don't think they're going to mess them up, but they're going to have expectations very high. Stranger Things is mostly because of that last house was not really up to a lot of people's standards. A lot of people didn't like that one. With the or Last of Us, sorry, it's been a property people have wanted for so long. So I feel like it's definitely going to be something that they're going to want to put a lot of detail in. You can see with the food booths, they have all like those little details that I think are going to be really great in the Last of Us house. Sorry, I don't know why I kept like losing my train of thought with that one. I was like trying to figure it out, but I'm building up the HHNCU. I know we talked about it in the last. I feel like it's every time we're on these live streams, we're talking about the HHNCU. The book dude, clearly Oddfellow is stuck in the dark realm, and now, but maybe he's taking root in 2013, possibly influence the IP years. Yeah, I think that's like a theory I've heard a little bit about. Like it was like there's a but I wonder because it's like that's kind of a I mean that's a very it's kind of a meta thing if you're like commenting on the state of the event. But I guess that's kind of the direction they're going with Chucky this year. So I don't know, theme park dude, that would be very interesting. I miss when the Icon had a show. The only shows now are Nightmare Fuel, and I wish they would switch it up. Now, I think the reason for that, the only reason this year is because there's no Lagoon show because of they're fixing it for the new Universal nighttime show, whatever it's going to be, the cinematic celebration, but it's going to be a new version. So I'm thinking we can expect, I can hope we're going to have the Lagoon show back next year. But I think also Nightmare Fuel they're on a contract. I think from what I've heard that kind of rumor tossed around. I don't know if that's true or not. That the Nightmare Fuel crew is like kind of on. It's kind of like an Academy of Villains thing where it's like a third party thing, and they're kind of like putting it together. And it's so I think it might be something they might have to wait. Although I would be very interested if. Sorry, there was like some noise out there. I think it'd be interesting if it's Oddfellow coming for me. No, but I think them doing like a new sort of show. I know there's like another comment here Oh, that was your comment. Yeah, missing the icon had a show. I thought it was a different comment. No, I think the icon, like, I really would love if Oddfellow. Yeah, there's another one. It's like Theme Park Dude said, wild theory. If Oddfellow showed up, I think it'd be kind of cool. Let's have Oddfellow do some backflips and crazy magic tricks on stage with fire, with pyro. And the are big gamers, and they wanted, oh yeah. And I think this year's gonna be a lot of passion projects for people. I think you have like Dueling Dragons as a passion project for sure. You can tell that's a passion project. There's no way that's not. But then you also have The Last of Us, which is like they said, like Nate said, like it's probably been a passion project, but they've been trying to get it approved or trying to get something going here. So it could be another thing too. Is like people don't consider, like, sometimes when you talk about Universal or even Disney and you talk about the people that make the stuff, sometimes you forget that they're people, right? And they want to do certain things, but whether it's an executive or something decision or whatever, they just say no, and you're like, oh man, I've been wanting to do this thing, and they're fans like us, so it's like, I think that could be a thing, and I feel like we're going to see a lot of love put into that this year. I mean, you see it with the creative team when it comes to like things like the tribute store. I mean, hi guys, have you seen that tribute store facade? I'm going there to shoot it, so if you haven't seen it yet, just wait. I'm going to put it out in a video, but 20s Vamps would be sick. Yes, definitely the hotline. I would love that. 20s Vamps, let's make it happen. Vamp 17. Okay, Harry, now I think you're onto something. Mix that with the Nightingales and Vamps. That would be, it's like, I know like war and things like that are very touchy for them to do. I think especially now, like any kind of like a real world thing. I don't know. Maybe I'm reaching too far into it, but imagine if you have like some, like, you can create a really tense atmosphere with something like that. If you were to do some kind of like a scare zone or something like that with like a trenches theme, I think it might be a little questionable if they're going to do it like just in the state of Halloween Horror Nights and Universal as it is right now, and just to save the world, do something like that nowadays. But I think it'll be interesting. Let's see. Personal Vamp Pipe Dream Zone is a mid 2001. Yeah, we have Vamp 90. Okay, Vamp 90, Vamp 91. It would have to be 91. If it's going to be at Fright Nights, I think that'd be so cool if they ever did like a meta Fright Nights, some kind of like Fright Nights haunted house or like Scare Zone, or like just go back to the Dungeon of Terror. Do another Dungeon of Terror house, because that house hasn't been touched in since 2006. That was the last time they did a Dungeon of Terror house. The Yeti's art is a chef kiss. Sorry, I'm like way back in the chat. Is because I like what I do with the chat, and I obviously anybody that has any thoughts in the chat. Obviously, I'm going to read them. That's why I'm trying to. That's why it's taking me so long. Sometimes I'm like reading them, like, oh, that's an interesting conversation topic. But yeah, the Yeti art all the way back when I was talking about the originals T-shirt. Maybe it's so they can try and give HHN some dignity. I would think so, 6 million, but I don't know if that's actually what's going on. Fingers crossed we get a hidden Crash Bandicoot in The Last of Us. That would be awesome. Some like PlayStation Easter eggs. I mean, obviously, I know that's like that would be really cool if they had a couple like strange Easter eggs, like gaming Easter eggs. Or I know a lot of people didn't really like the Resident Evil, the one that had the pause screen, but like, I don't know, something like that. That was like, it's like a game Easter egg. Like, I'm not saying do that in The Last of Us, but like something like that to where it's like, oh, I recognize that, or it's like a specific gamer thing, you know. Vamp at Fright Nights, yeah, the hotline, bro. I absolutely would be Fright Nights. Any kind of Fright Nights representation, we'll be all over it. Last of Us literally started from a Twitter conversation. That's right. That's true. And that's like, and that kind of goes back to my point of saying, like, these people that make these haunted houses and stuff and do these scare zones is like, they're people. And it sometimes can start as something as simple as that. As like, you have these people that have, you know, Universal and another company is like, hey, let's talk about it. You know, like if the developer says, oh, yeah, let's make something happen, you know, it's really interesting. I hate to say, but I don't think Nightingale. So there's a couple comments on Nightingales. I absolutely agree with with 6 billion and both 6 billion and Nate on like the kind of the Nightingale subject. I don't think they do like that kind of style of house anymore. Like that's the setting, at least. You know, it worked for when they did it, but I don't think they do it again. But Roman Blood Pit, I mean, that was definitely definitely more interesting, but I feel like that is far away, removed enough from being like super current. Sorry, let me scoot up a little bit. It's far away from being super current to the point where I don't see like it might be not be as big of a problem. I guess I don't know. It might not be as problematic. I guess I should say. Probably not Crash Bandicoot. Yeah, I don't know what I'm not like super well versed in what Naughty Dog owns and doesn't own, but Uncharted, yeah. I mean, I think that'd be very interesting. Just some little nod. Kill for redo of Resident Evil and Silent Hill. And I was tripping they could play at the camp with that. They did for some parts. Yeah, I mean, I think that just having some Easter eggs to the fact that it's a video game, because they make it clear this is the video game and not the show. And I feel like you're going to have people still going, where's Pedro Pascal at? You know, it's like, where's this? Where's this? Where's this in the show? It's like, no, it's not from the show. But I feel like if you're going to be like, hey, it's from the game, make it from the game. Make some fun game Easter eggs. I think that would be really interesting if you do like just something, some little nods. Maybe it's even only stuff you see on the Unmasking tour. But still, like just add that stuff in there to really hone in on the atmosphere here. Harry, final Vamp idea. Hopefully this one's better. What about Vamp 2020? 2120s. A Vamp zone that takes about 100 years in the future. Yeah, I mean, okay, for those who remember Seek and Destroy, would you count that as like a cyberpunk futuristic? Because I guess that's like a futuristic sort of atmosphere. But Seek and Destroy had that vibe, and I don't know if it's one that Universal's going to be one of like run to right now. I mean, I think in the future, I think it's just because they just did it not too long ago to do a cyberpunk. Because I mean, I know I really would like a cyberpunk house, like some kind of cyberpunk house, like more like a cyberpunk house than like than whatever. Like Seek and Destroy was more like dystopian future, I guess. But I think like something like that, cyberpunk Vamps would be very interesting. I think that could be really cool. Seek and Destroy was awesome. Definitely cyberpunk. Yeah, I was just curious. I was just trying to process it in my head, and I was doing it out loud because I was like, is it like cyberpunk? Because it's not like it's on Earth. It's on like Earth. It's like computer, like digital, but it's more like Holly says, like dystopian future, but not as much like it's not. It's more like, I don't know. Like I feel like it doesn't give off like the cyberpunk vibes that people immediately associate with it, like the neon and stuff like that. So I'm all for more game IPs. Them ideas might lean more towards slightly obscure ones like Amnesia or an old game I love, The Suffering. Look up the monsters design sometimes. Yeah, I'll definitely check that out. I've never played Amnesia, and here's Dead by Daylight too. That's one that a lot of people want, Dead by Daylight. I'm not a huge gamer as much as I used to be. I play certain games, but I'm not like the biggest video game player. One that I've always wanted though is what's up, Losh? The one that I've always wanted though would be BioShock. I talked about it in the video. I said BioShock would be fantastic as a house. I think that would be beautiful. It would just be such a beautiful house, and I feel like you can make it really like there's the room for it to be scary because those splicers will come out of nowhere. So I think that would be absolutely amazing. Just imagine, like I was just imagining this, like you would start. I talked about this a little bit in the video, but I'll do it like a draft. You start with like the welcome lobby, right? Because I don't know how you would do the submarine to the welcome lobby. If there's anyone who would think how you could do that. Like if you did like the welcome lobby and then go through like the medical center, go through like the what would be next? Like the Neptune's Bounty, and then like the farmer's market. I don't know. Like you kind of just would more be exploring like Rapture. And I feel like you could also do like have like a Hephaestus and have like really cool like Big Daddy scares, and like you could I really could imagine them doing like a triple scare with maybe a couple splicers and then a Big Daddy or something like that. Somewhere. I don't know. This is just me doing fantasy HHN drafts. We have so one of my favorite originals is Saws and Steam duology. Scare Zone House. Would love to see cyberpunk version of those. Yeah, I think Saws and Steam. Do it cyberpunk. Do it. What would it be? It wouldn't be Saws and Steam anymore. It would be like, I don't know. I don't know what the name of that would be. Like I don't know how it would work, but I was trying to think of a funny name, but it didn't work. Hotline. So we talked a little bit about Five Nights at Freddy's earlier, and I'm hoping that happens. I put it on Twitter. I said it's either if it's going to happen, the 27th when the movie comes out, October 31st because it's Halloween, or November 4th because it's the end of the event, like they did with Chucky, right? One of those 3 days. That's when it's happening. If it's actually happening, that will be when they do it. Because I don't see, I don't know. I feel like this is a property that a lot of people are like, okay, come on, we're gonna have it this year. There's no way we don't have Five Nights at Freddy's, or I guess next year. We don't have it next year. There's no way. Like, yeah, wasted opportunity. Exactly. I'm like there's like, and I feel like it would be crazy if they did it and kind of like worked almost like they're doing with like The Exorcist, like working alongside the movie coming out. Obviously the movie will be out, but like the creature designs, or I guess like the animatronic designs, like the fact that it's all like practical, I think leans into Halloween Horror Nights House even more, because it's not like, oh man, this whole movie's CGI. How are we going to make these huge animatronics happen? Well, if they're like practical, obviously we could do it on a smaller scale, not as expensive, but I don't know. I could talk about Five Nights at Freddy's on this all day. Fort Frolic on, or I'm sorry, we can go back up here. Fort Frolic, yes. I bet a silly amount of money on a FNAF announcement, but I'm also not sure they'll bring back the final announcement because it not. Yeah, that's the one thing I will say, is because I feel like Chucky, people kind of forgot after like a couple months. People kind of forgot. Oh yeah, Chucky actually is happening. But the one thing I will say is just because Five Nights at Freddy's is such a big IP that will likely be one of your big IPs for next year. Absolutely. And I know I'm talking about next year. This year we haven't even hit it yet, but you know we're on the topic. BioShock: A New Parade. Yeah, I mean, I personally would put BioShock in a soundstage just because I feel like there's a lot of height you could play with. But New Parade, I mean, really anywhere like that would be good. I wouldn't say a tent, because the last time they tried to do water in a tent, it wasn't, it was Depths of Fear. So, I mean, I don't think they could have done a whole lot more with that. But Hotline, yeah, so fingers crossed Hotline, especially because it's apparently is there going to apparently be a FNAF drink? We kind of mentioned it earlier in the beginning of the stream, if they had a FNAF drink at the Peacock Bar. So, very interesting if FNAF is going to have some presence there. BioShock would have to be in. Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying. 22-25, 6 billion. I'm right there with you. I have to be in a soundstage. I think it had to be in a soundstage. Like I said, Seek and Destroy, cyberpunk version of it. Oh, okay. I get what you're saying, Kima Dog. Like, it's kind of a cyberpunk version of Saws and Steam. Got you. Sorry, I didn't like process that. I thought you were saying like do a cyberpunk version of Saws and Steam, but I was like, yeah, I didn't process that. But anyway, I got it now. Fingers crossed. Okay, let's see. It's baffling they didn't FNAF this year. I think it's better that they're not doing FNAF this year. I think it's better. I think it would be better to wait. I would personally rather wait and have it next year and be able to have a full house next year, not like a house that's tiptoeing around spoilers, especially when this movie's very lore heavy and there's some stuff in there that might be surprise that, I mean, they should Springtrap off in the trailer, so that's not really a surprise. Right? I hope I didn't just spoil it for people. I hope I didn't do that. I thought I saw Springtrap in the trailer. But anyway, I'm going to move away from that. Animatronic heavy. Yeah. Yeah, it's like a white whale thing. Yeah, I think it's something that it would be I think it'd be a really big deal if they did FNAF here. This is Fallout 2. I'm personally a big Fallout fan. I think it could be interesting. I'm not sure. It depends on how Amazon's trying to take the series, because it's like Fallout isn't necessarily horror as much as, like, I feel like BioShock's a little more connected to the horror genre, even though they're both like very story driven games. It's not like horror. They're more like I don't know, like thriller drama. I don't know. I'm categorizing video games. I'm not a gamer, but I have played those games. But Fallout, I don't know if it's as horror based as like something that. So, and it just depends on how they would take the series. And I don't know if Amazon and Universal have ever done Halloween Horror Nights house like partnership before. I don't know. I'll have to let me know in the chat if yours if that's true. That's actually happened. 6 million. I still say the Chucky announcement last year for the story this year to make sense. That's curious. I didn't really think about it like that, but I mean, that could be because I mean, Chucky in the trailer was like, "Hey, I'm coming to Halloween Horror Nights next year." Like, it wasn't like the Scream Squad announcements, and that's why I was surprised, but also not, that he wasn't in the trailer and like the big trailer where they had everybody there, because especially because they had 4 people and they didn't. I was like, oh, they're gonna have Last of Us, Exorcist, Stranger Things, and Chucky, because they have those 4. Or monsters, but most likely Chucky. But it makes sense because he's like, "Hey, everybody, I'm coming to Halloween Horror Nights this year." So, 6 million. I think that could be very true. That does make a lot of sense. I'm just covering another weird, lucrative music house. Yeah, more weird music houses, please. Let's make some more music houses. But yeah, no, I would definitely love to see more music houses. Megan and FNAF. I think FNAF can stand on its own, Chemo Dog, personally, but I mean, nothing's out of the question. It would be a dream come true for the entrance of the house to be the entrance of Freddy Fazbear. I think it would have to be. You'd have to have a very impressive facade for this, because it's in all the marketing. Like, every trailer has more than one shot of the Freddy Fazbear Pizza exterior and sign. So it would have to be something. Like, it would have to absolutely be something they do. But for real, I lost my marvels if we get Sweet Tooth at HHN. Sweet Tooth, is that Twisted Metal? No, I don't know. I'm being an idiot right now. I don't even know what that. I'm Give me dog. Let me know what that's from, if I'm just being dumb or if I'm right. I wonder if they'll do FNAF as a video game house opposed to the movie. I would. Yeah, Twisted Metal. Oh, thank you, Hotline. Thank you. I was like, I thought I was right because I had seen the thing, but I wasn't 100% sure. So thank you for clarifying. I'm doing real good on Peacock. I haven't watched it yet. I have to watch it because I've heard it's actually pretty good. Like, I've heard people that that were kind of like, I don't know, it's a little iffy, but now it's like actually it's pretty good. So, check it out. Okay, I'll definitely check it out. Especially now that I got 6 months free with Peacock. Anyway, I wonder if they do. Sorry, I'm going back up to Nate's comment talking about the game versus the movie. I think they would do the movie. I mean, I would love to see I feel like the game would be very interesting, but I feel like they should do the movie. Personally, I think they should do the movie just because I feel like there's a lot more tie-in value with that on Universal's end. Less of on their end. Like, I feel like Universal would benefit more for them doing the movie because they're like producing the movie. So, and the game is not produced by them. So I don't know. I feel like it might be better for them to do the movie. Look, I bet the Chucky original plot was a late addition. Yeah, I would have to. I might have to agree with you, but I mean, I don't know. It just depends on. Like I said, I mean, usually this stuff is planned, so I don't know if that's 100% there. But I mean, again, I wouldn't be surprised if that's the case. Like, it doesn't seem like it doesn't. If it was a late edition, I don't think it was super late because they had enough time to promote it and actually say, hey, this is what's happening with Chucky. It's not like just something they turn around in 2 weeks. They're like, hey, it's how we're doing Ultimate Kill Count. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm very curious with that one. So yeah, mentioning all those IPs, what are the chances for a video game and heavy event next year? I don't know about a whole event, but I mean, I do think The Last of Us is definitely like dipping the toes in to get some video games at the event for sure. I do think that I think that it's a test. I think that it's a test. I talked about it before. I have two things. Actually, I'll talk about them when I read the chat because I have two things. One thing with Last of Us and one thing with Dueling Dragons. But let's see. I love Lady Gaga or something unexpected. I think metal being is overused. One of those early chant tropes we don't need anymore. Okay, 6 billion. I know this might make some people mad. I'm gonna have to agree with you. I think The Weeknd worked really well because it was so different. Lady Gaga would be very interesting. I would have loved to seen if they did the Billie Eilish house. Obviously, not anymore. It doesn't really work. But like at the moment that it was rumored to come or supposed to come, Billie Eilish I think would have been really, really interesting. So 6 billion, I have to agree with you. Any Hollywood original you would love to see in Orlando? The Monsters House. Please bring that over here. Please just pick it up from Hollywood and drop it over here. I'm really excited to see how that one goes because that one looks awesome. Looks awesome. And I think that's like the main one that I'm thinking of, like that we haven't seen in Orlando that has been done in Hollywood. That was when it was announced because I was watching the Midsummer Scream panel at whatever the one that was a couple weeks ago, John Murdy's panel. And when they announced that, I was like, okay. Like I was watching it live going, oh wow, everything they announced was like boom, boom, boom. Like here, we're not only gonna show you this, we're gonna show you the facade that we're behind the wall, then we're gonna show you the animatronic we're building for La Lechuza, then we're gonna show you that. I'm like, whoa. I mean, I know they do that, but like for this house, I'm very excited for that. So definitely excited for your Monstros house, you Hollywooders, Hollywood visitors. I don't know why I said that. The tone of the game is so palpably uncomfortable and uncanny. I would like to see that over what's been seen in the trailer. Okay, yeah, I think that's definitely a personal preference for sure, and I get that, 100%. I think that the tone of the game is going to be a lot stronger in the horror aspect. But I was just more saying from Universal's perspective what they might want to do. The movie also probably has more locations. I agree with you also. I think there's going to be some more stuff going on, but I think we're still pretty much going to be staying in Freddy Fazbear's. I don't think we would be leaving there really anyway, unless they were going into somewhere like maybe they're going into what's the Fredbear's Pizza? Is that the one from the past? I know I'm getting into the Five Nights at Freddy's lore. I'm not fully into it yet, but I want to do a little more research before I see the movie because I do want to see the movie when it comes out. I'm very interested in it. I think the movie because the games that mess with the lore. Yeah, I think they're trying to really. I think what they're trying to do with the movie is they're trying to take all this lore and put it together and streamline it. So I definitely agree with the Kima Dog. Castlevania, yeah, Castlevania. I mean, that's a classic for sure, but that would be very interesting. Nate says metal houses are overdone. I mean, I just think we should. I mean, I think there's plenty of metal bands they could do and do really well. Like, I think Iron Maiden would be really cool set wise. I think Metallica could be interesting, but I would rather them try other things first. Would love to see the Orlando take on Monsters. I'm excited to see your take on Monsters Hotline. I know your Hotline is a SoCal channel, so I know I'm excited to see what that looks like. But Chupacabras was great. Chupacabras underrated, 100% underrated. I think that is one of the most underrated. That was one of my favorite houses last year. Let's see, Circus Babies, but I doubt they have that in the movie. Michael Jackson's Thriller. I know. I don't know if Losh is still in here, but Losh made a video on that a long time ago. So, I mean, it's been people have wanted it, and I think it would be really cool to do that one. Castlevania being an HHN will be, yeah, it's just Japanese. Exactly. It's like, it's a classic, but also like, I don't know. I think it would be interesting if they did it. I don't know if it would have like the whole, like, I don't know if it would have as much fanfare as like, I just don't know if I feel like it's definitely like it's got its audience. There are a lot of people that love Castlevania, but like, I don't know if it's something that a general public is like all about right now. I don't know. Band's probably too obscure, but I'd love to see King Crimson House. I have to agree that it is too obscure, but King Crimson would be awesome. I think King Crimson would make some really wild visuals. Think of doing think of I think okay. If you checked out the channel on the past couple days, I did a video with Losh. I keep talking about Losh, but I did a video with Losh, and we did a 3D houses history video. And I think like what band would be cool to see in 3D? I feel like that would be really interesting if you did like I know they've done 3D in the past in Hollywood, but I think like doing a 3D band here in some fashion could be very interesting. I don't know what bands that would be wild. Muse 3D. I don't know that much Muse, but I mean, if you say so, you got 2 comments about it, so definitely Dream Theater. Oh yeah, Dream Theater 3D would definitely be interesting. I feel like Dream Theater I feel like Dream Theater would be the kind of band to like actually make a whole album, do like what Slash does for Hollywood's Monsters stuff, like do a whole thing. But anyway, let me go back up. I'm skipping over stuff. My big worry: the metal haunts becomes easy to scapegoat. The human sacrifices got that. The human sacrifices that got axed. Yeah, so there's a lot of religious kind of thing you got to jump over. That is very true, 6 billion, and I'm very curious how they want to like, and that's why I think the collector is the character of the Darkest Deal and not the devil, just because of the religious fact. I 100% agree with you, 6 billion. Just like the war thing we talked about before, they're going to want to try to steer clear of religious stuff when it comes to that. So definitely true. I think we have another comment here. I think it becomes difficult to see a metal haunt as anything other than Satan or demons to most of the public. Yeah, that's true. That is also true. So that's why I think that I 100% agree that the metal haunts, that's why I think part of it is like they would have to tiptoe over stuff. And I feel like if you can't do the full vision of the band, then don't do it. You know, like you can't do Iron Maiden without the number of the beast. You know what I'm saying? Like I feel like you'd have to do that. So it's like you don't want to do it and have to half-ass it because you have to not be super like one way or the other. You know. Let's see. Sorry, my chair is very squeaky. It's just very squeaky. So I apologize. Here we go. Silent Hill is becoming a big trend on TikTok. Oh yeah, so you want to see another Silent Hill? Oh yeah, I think Silent Hill will be good if they did it like Resident Evil. I think it'll be good if they did another one for sure. Like do a remake remaster. Do just basically do the house and remaster it. No, but I think those are very popular video game properties that are like, it's not like they're kind of like timeless. They're like they existed for so long in the just general public knowledge. It's kind of like Fallout 2 is kind of like that, or BioShock is like these games that have existed for a good while now, but they're still pretty popular. So definitely think so. Yeah, the Fallen was really underwhelming because they didn't use the full potential of war between light and dark. Yeah, I think that's possibly what's going on here, and I think that's why they don't do it, because I feel like they'd rather try something different than do something that you can't do the full thing. I was like, for me, it would be if I was someone coming up with it and they said you can't do this and this, I'm like, well, I won't do that. I'll just do something else that you could actually do or find a way around it. You know, personal music house pipe dream is Poppy. I think Poppy would be wild. Would absolutely be a wild haunted house. But I don't think they would do it, but I think it'll be wild. I think the visuals you could do really crazy. Any thoughts on the Yeti house? So yeah, really excited for the Yeti house. And definitely one that I'm looking forward to. I'm excited to see if it's a little more of a campier take. I mean, the original one had its camping moments. So I think the Yeti could be something cool, could be something different. Could be something I guess familiar and new. You know, I feel like this is one of those houses that they have these big ambitious ideas, like dueling dragons, like like the Darkest Deal, which is going to be very story driven, I'm guessing, and also very Blood Moons, I think, is also going to be very story driven. So I feel like, and you also have like things like Stranger Things, The Last of Us, and Exorcist, and Chucky, and like these big houses. I mean, not Chucky as much, but the others that I feel like Yeti is going to be one of those that you kind of like, you're like, okay, like you gotta like, we have the Yeti props, we have the costumes in the back. Let's try another one of these and let's see if they work. It worked the last time. Why not try it again? You know, I'm not saying it's like going to be a butted house, it's going to be cheap, it's going to suck or whatever, but I think it could be something like, hey, let's try an old favorite, because we're doing all these big things, and we kind of need something to maybe fill it out. I don't know. That's just me hypothesizing. I'm not trying to listen. I'm excited for it just the same as I am excited for everything else. I'm very excited for Yeti. I'm excited to see how campy they go with it. So, but considering the Yeti design is the same on the artwork as it kind of was in the original one, I wouldn't be surprised that they're using a lot from that original house in the new one. So, what do we got here? Next Universal Monster House better be a versus of Atomic Era Monsters. So we have more of some Universal Monsters talk. Okay, I like both of these ideas. We have the Atomic Era Monsters. I would love to see this Island Earth. That would be an interesting IP. They do, but they haven't like done it. You know, like they have it in their arsenal, and it's like in like it was in the Monsters Cafe, and I think there's props in the more makeup. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know. Actually, I don't know. Yes, there is. There is a Metaluma mutant somewhere in there in the lobby, I believe. So it's a universal thing. And I think that like a Creature of the Black Lagoon and like other little like the sort of like monsters like that mixed with like our classic, I think that'll be kind of interesting. Or just do an Atomic Era monsters in general. Like a creature feature deal. And then 6 Billion said Slash like conceptualized house. Yeah. Although Slash is a little wild. I don't know if sometimes I see his Instagram. I don't know if we'd have the whole 9 yards with Slash, but I'm joking. But I think that'd be pretty interesting. I feel like I'm excited to see the score this year because of the Phantom of the Opera stuff. And that track they previewed at Midsummer Scream, Chef's Kiss. It was absolutely fantastic. I listen to that all the time. I listen to it all the time. I can't wait till it's out on streaming to actually so I can put it in my rotation like I have with the other Universal Monsters tracks. I do think that the game thing, I think this is kind of the first step. And this kind of goes back to what I was saying before. I think this is going to be the first step. And I think Dueling Dragons is also the first step for two things. So we know Islands of Adventure is turning 25 next year. Big deal. Big anniversary. What else did we see that's Islands of Adventure related recently? The digital soundtrack. It was just put out on YouTube. But I think it could be coming to streaming. And I think that little release was unprompted. There was no reason for them to do that. But that and Dueling Dragons gets me to think they're going to want to try something unique, and they're going to want to really hone in on the nostalgia of Islands of Adventure for next year. So there was a thing that I mentioned that's in the Haunted Tales for Dueling Dragons, and it's going to be a little minor spoilers for the Haunted Tales, but there was a reference to Poseidon's Fury in there. Now, what if Dueling Dragons is the beginning, and then they do Poseidon's Fury? Maybe not next year, maybe not until later, but maybe they're setting up a story here. It's something to think about. But I think Last of Us is also one of those. It's like, do people like it? How are we going to do it? How's it going to work? What's going to happen here? And then if people dig it and respond well to it, like, okay, let's start trying to pursue things like BioShock. Let's start trying to do things like Doom or Resident Evil or Silent Hill again. Because those were in, as 6 Billion pointed out earlier, 23 was Resident Evil. Resident Evil was in 23 and 22 was Silent Hill, or 4? No, I think it was 22 was Silent Hill. So you have both of those houses that were like, in that like weird IP, beginning of the IP years. But now we're in a different era. Now we're not in the same period that we were back in 23 and 22. So I feel like video games could work a lot better now. Maybe. I don't know. I think Halloween Hornets is on a different standard. Obviously, we've seen that. But I don't know. Maybe that's just me. Maybe that's just me being excited for stuff that isn't happening. But, here you go. So I'm gonna leave Dueling Dragons happen. I have a feeling Dueling Dragons and Yeti, what made those Demon Slayer rumors? Yeah, those rumors were wild. The Demon Slayer rumors were absolutely wild. I didn't know if it was. I kind of wanted to be I was like mixed on it because I was like, I don't know. I don't know if that's actually gonna happen or not. But I didn't want to be like, oh, it's not going to happen, because you never know sometimes with Horror Nights, and especially because they have it over in Japan and they've used it over there for something. It's like, yeah, I mean, it's not completely out of the question ever, but I just think like I don't know. I think that was a wild time for sure. NF would make for a unique house. Maybe. I'm not a big NF listener, but I don't know how NF would work with Horror Nights. But I don't know, Harry. You'll have to let me know about that. Here we go. Let's see. Wolfman and Gillman, the most animalistic. I think that would be kind of cool too if you had like animal creatures. Not bad, but I think we kind of need a break from like the main Universal monsters. I think if they do creature, I think they should just do creature. Just do creature next year. I think that's fine to just do that. Or yeah, just do creature next year and do like, just something a little more small scale. But yeah. Let's see. I have a couple comments from Nate. I have no idea how to display text on YouTube, so be careful. But didn't they say there's a house for 2024 already in full production? I did not know that, but could be. I mean, I do not know if that's true, but it could be Poseidon's Fury. I don't know if that's something they jump right into, but I mean, it would make sense. Next year is the 25th anniversary of Islands of Adventure. So who knows? That was just a chaos theory. I have no clue. I just said that because I was like, they said it in the thing and they mentioned they had a little Poseidon's Fury Easter egg. And I was like, and it's an Easter egg. Like, it's not just like, oh, something I'm pulling out. Like, I know it's actually a thing that they like. There's no way it's not a reference. So I don't know. Maybe. I think we just got very lucky with. Yeah, I mean, it could just be a one and done. It very well could be. It could be something. It could be the beginning of something. It could be just a one and done. You never know. I'm not a big fan of Demon Slayer, but I'm begging for it to be real. No, you're good, Nate. Don't worry about typing too much in the chat. I'm probably going to be on until about maybe 9. I think I might get off at 9. 2 hours. I think that's a good amount for stream. I may go like 9:05 because I got out here after 7. So I'll probably go for maybe another, 25 minutes. So we can have some more chats if everybody's down. But anyway, yeah, I think that I do think that Demon Slayer is something that would be interesting. I think that was my sort of excitement for it. It wasn't necessarily because I really care that much about Demon Slayer personally as a property, but it was more like I'm just excited for the possibility of something like this, like The Weeknd. I personally really love The Weeknd's music, and I was very excited because I like The Weeknd as a artist. But even if I wasn't, I would still be excited just for the possibility of it. Okay, so Kim Dog's talking about Disaster with Paul Levinsky. Very interesting. I don't know. I don't know if there'd be enough to do. Like, I don't know if there's enough of a fan base for that one, unfortunately. I mean, I would love it because I like weird like stuff. I mean, if you're gonna do attractions, make a Jaws house. Do something Jaws themed. I mean, if you're gonna do defunct stuff, do a Jaws themed house. I don't know. That's one I've always thought would be really cool. I mean, it'd be very, very technologically complicated. Like, you'd have to do lots with it. But I mean, like doing something Jaws themed or maybe something like Amity Island themed. I don't know. But Paul Ravinsky and Frank Kincaid. So using Frank Kincaid, I mean, they've had references to him at Halloween Horror Nights. So he's like, I think he's technically in universe of Halloween Horror Nights because I believe in Descendants of Destruction they had a Frank Kincaid nod. So, anime and manga would be very good, but I doubt Demon Slayer would have been the ideal choice. Uzumaki as an anime. Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of anime that you could do really, really well and make it all work and happen. That like I think there's plenty of room. It's like video games. It's like there's plenty of properties and things you could do. Like, you don't have to just go with the big ones. But you could really do something exciting and new, and it can be opening the door to something all new and an all new audience too. I think because, okay, let's be real. Stranger Things is this year, right? And Stranger Things 5 is not here yet, but I mean, that one's not coming out for a while because of the strike. They haven't started it yet. And that's it. So what's your next Stranger Things? What's your next big property like that that's going to bring a lot of people in, that will bring different people? I think anime could be that. Like it could be something that is a new and exciting property that can bring people in a different way. FNAF, yeah, FNAF for sure. But I'm just saying, like a big property that's I don't know. FNAF could be that, but I mean, I'm just saying, like anime, there's a lot of room to pull from, and it might bring in an audience that may not have come to Horror Nights, or maybe like, oh man, Japan has all those cool anime. Because I know a lot of people are like, man, I would love to go to Japan for all like the anime attractions and stuff. And they're like, no, well, now we have it here in the States, so you can come see it. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. Maybe that's me projecting. I'm not the biggest anime fan, but I'd be excited for it because I am excited for everything when it comes to Horror Nights. I'm a very positive with Horror Nights for the most part, unless it's like something specifically that I don't like, obviously. 6 billion, I love an anime style haunt. Yeah, I think they could do chroma depth paint. Do like a Pandora's box. I know there was someone who mentioned on the 3D video that the Pandora's box would have been a great 3D house. I think if they did like that kind of style with like the black light and like this very like dynamic visual style, could be very, very interesting. Or you can do like, I know that a lot of people talk about Junji Ito, like kind of like that sort of style, which is like, from what I understand, like the exact opposite, right? So I don't know, very interesting. I think it could work. I think anime could work. Yeah, it feels like the natural step if they don't decide to walk down exactly. They need to find something big that'll last them. I feel like Stranger Things got them through a good 5 or 6, 7, maybe even 10 years. I don't know, however long it takes for 5 to come out. But it'll last them a good few years. But they need like something new, something like something big. And I think Stranger Things is gonna be, or I think anime could be that like next big thing that they do, the next big path they do. And there's lots of room. It's not like The Walking Dead or Stranger Things where it's like, okay, it's one property, and if you do it years and years and years in a row, people get tired of it. If you do anime and you try different styles every year, every couple of years, it can last you a good long time. So that's just a thing to think about. That's what I'm thinking for next year, because I'm like, there are a lot of movies are on hold right now. It's like kind of like 2020. A lot of movies are on hold, being pushed back. So what's your big properties? Obviously, you can go back. You can go back to like things like Five Nights at Freddy's, which will be out this year. You can go back to your classic IPs. Usually have one of those. But like, what do you do? Like you're not doing a lot of new releases. So I don't know. I'm very curious what like the next couple of years of Horror Nights is going to look like in terms of the IPs. But I don't know. That's what we have time to think about this. We don't have to know right now because it's not. We're at 32. So Bill and Ted. I think Bill and Ted. I would love Bill and Ted to come back as some kind of show or something. I mean, it'd be great to bring Bill and Ted back, of course. Everybody wants Bill and Ted to come back. Not everybody, but I know a lot of people do want Bill and Ted to come back. Yeah, I think that would be cool. I don't know if they would do. I think if they did like a haunted house, it could be almost like a Penn and Teller kind of thing, like definitely like a comedy house, obviously. But I don't know. I feel like Bill and Ted is also something this era of Horror Nights, it won't really work. I don't know if that's just me, but because of the way Horror Nights is and because of the way the world is, like doing the kind of Bill and Ted show that they had back in the past, I don't know if it would really work as well as it would back even in 2017 when they had the last one. Oh yeah, okay, Abbott and Frankenstein. I mean, Abbott and Costello would be really great, but I know they never do that. But like, Bill and Ted Meet the Monsters. Yeah. So it's like, so I think that I don't know. I think it could be very interesting. 6 billion. Not Serious Farms announced they bringing back The Hanging, which would be basically be as the same as H&M reviving. Yeah, I mean, I think they could do it, but I don't know. I'm just curious how they would do. Like more of like the pop culture stuff. Like they could do the show, and I guess they could always do it in a different way, but like it's more of like the pop culture items that I'm like. I mean, there's plenty of stuff to attack in pop culture, but I wonder how they might tie, because I mean it's just the space, the world is very different than it was in 2017. So let's see. Junji Ito Scare Zone. Yeah, I mean Junji Ito anything. Like I think that would just be a cool like look. Is a shocking choice. Whoa. Okay, let me go back up. I'm not gonna skip over Nate's comments. My gut's telling me next year's IL. What does that mean? IP? Anything? Anyway, will look something like FNAF, a Blumhouse release, another legacy video game or anime IP, Return of a Classic Slasher, and Atomic Era Monsters House. Yeah, I think that's pretty. I think that's pretty secured on there. I think that could be something they do, for sure. Oh yeah, sorry, I'm reading one at a time. I missed like the little autocorrect comment, but yes, it is HHN32. It is a shocking choice. Yeah. I'm very happy to see how they'll do Invisible Man. Yes. Oh, all they have to do, empty hallway or like a hallway with like do like the kind of the scare they did with The Weekend where they had the painting like the wall, like the girl or the person on the paint on the wall come out. Something like that. Like have the scare just blend into the walls and like move stuff around and then have him laughing around you. Like just have the laugh and just have there be nothing there, but it sounds like he's there. That would be terrifying. Absolutely terrifying if you just have his because the Invisible Man is unhinged. He's a maniac. Like he is absolutely a maniac. So it's like he is the most unhinged of all these characters, I think, because he's just out for whatever for fun. So very interesting. He's a wild card. I would very curious how they're going to do it. I don't know if they're going to do the blacklight like they did in Hollywood. I don't know if that's going to happen. Junji Ito. Yeah. Invisible Man is my most hyped as well. I mean, he's one of my favorite monsters. Invisible Man has probably my second favorite Universal monster movie. Wolfman is my favorite. But yeah, no, I think he's out. I'm so happy to see that he's here. And that all of them are there, obviously, but it's like the little island of misfit toys. Because it's all like the characters that aren't like the big characters, but have like such an important history with Universal, and like Phantom of the Opera and Hunchback of Notre Dame are like the beginning of the thing of like of the studios like monsters. So, Atomic Era Monsters House, so cool for the future of Epic Universe. Yeah, I think it's great, and I think that that's something interesting to bring up when you talk about Universal monsters. They're kind of like doing some some setup work. That's actually true. Like getting people to say, "Hey, let's see the Universal monsters not just as this old thing that like is black and white movies, but like something that can be scary, something that can be fun, characters but you really don't know." I think that'd be very cool. If we get Atomic Era monsters, I don't want them to make this island Aryan scare. Yeah, do like a Depths of Fear thing where you make these like very absurd looking costumes. Like I think that would be so funny. Make it a campy house. Make it a campy house. It doesn't need. Look, let's be honest. Let's be honest with ourselves. Let's be honest with ourselves. The the creature from the Black Lagoon is also very campy and very kind of goofy. He's goofy looking. Like he is very goofy looking. So like when you watch him just stand there, and he's great. I love the costume. Obviously, Millicent Patrick is a legend, and the costume is great. But he's a little silly. Okay, so you don't need to make him super crazy looking. You don't need to make them super crazy looking. You need to make them kind of goofy, kind of silly, and it can be fun. HHN Lord Twitter. I don't have it pulled up. Hold on, let me hop on here and then let me pull it up to see, because I do want to shout that account out because I do I like it. A relatively new account. It's just HHN_lore. So let me put it in the chat here. So that is that's the Twitter account for the HHN lore account. Go follow that. Let's go back to the chat. Another one with the Invisible Man. But it'd be funny if they had no characters from him, lights and sound effects. Yes. No. I don't think that's like too out of the question. It's not as much like a lazy choice. I think that's something that can actually be terrifying because it's like, no, there's actually no one there. It's just lights and sound effects and audio triggers. That would probably be scarier than any kind of actor they have. For me, at least, I'd be like, oh my god. Like I would be all over the place. So 100%. Um, 29 house, the small tweaks. Yeah, I mean, I think they could just leave the designer, maybe just touch it up, but don't like make it look creepy. Like don't do it like they've done with the other monsters. I kind of agree, like a balance. How do you think this year's Exorcist will compare to the original movie? I don't know. That is the wild card question that everyone wants to know. How is the Exorcist going to be? And honestly, it's one of the ones I kind of want to do first. I don't know why. It's like I'm kind of like, let's dip our feet with the. I don't. That's I am like a sadistic person. I'm like, let's go into the Exorcist first. But I'm like, no. I think that it could be something that I hope it's something that's good. I hope it's something that works. I think it'll be better once I see the movie. Maybe I should do a video like once the movie comes out, doing like a comparison, like what's in the movie versus what's in the house. I don't know. Maybe that's a good idea for a video. Also, dude, I really watched your Dream HHN year, and you were absolutely cooking with the Man of a Thousand Faces house. Yeah, so kind of going back to the Phantom of the Opera and Hunchback of Notre Dame, I was talking about Lon Chaney having a house, or like a Lon Chaney style character. I think that'd be really, really interesting. I don't know. I think that would be something that could be really cool and neat if they were to do that. Obviously, like you don't make it John, like it's not Lon Chaney, but it's like a Lon Chaney like kind of inspiration of his story, and taking it and making it there. Just kind of using the setting, using a lot of the sort of the characters that he created, and sort of taking inspiration from that. Could be really interesting. Yeah, excited that Believer. I'm you know what? I have faith in it that it'll be at least mildly entertaining and good. I mean, I think they're all going to be fun. I think they're going to be fun houses. I don't like to be like that where I'm like, oh, this house is going to suck. This house is, because the thing is there's so much that goes into these houses, and there's also so much that the houses, like, they change, they evolve, it depends on when you go. You can have one bad run and be like, oh, this house sucks, I'm never going to go in this again. Or you can be like, oh, like this one, or you can have a house that had a great run originally, and then it doesn't really match that as you go later in the event, So it's like, it just depends. It's a growing, evolving art form. It's not just a one size fits all. So that's why I'm never trying to be super judgmental of a house, especially in the beginning. I like to look at it from my experience and say, okay, from a house at the end, what did I get out of it? What did I get out of it personally in my experience? Did I have fun in it? Because sometimes the best houses, you still have fun in them, but they're not like the best houses. It's just like anything. So coolest year's Monsters house. Yeah, it is a love letter to Chaney's legacy, and it's like these characters that are not necessarily the universal classic monsters that are on all like the movie posters and stuff and the box sets, Blu-ray. They're still in the category, and they still fulfill that sort of like classic literary monsters, like from like this, it's like historical monsters of fiction, that are really, it's really great. I think it's really, really cool. And I think all of these characters are based on, like, if I'm correct, like all these characters are mostly based on like books. So like, I think that it's really cool. I mean, let's be honest, most of them Universal monsters are, but like, yeah, on paper, this year is really, really strong. Yeah, on paper, on paper, this year could be an all-timer. I am 100% on that. I think this year could be an all-timer, especially of recently. It could be the best out of the recent years. I mean, every year has the potential, right? But like, I seriously think, like you said, on paper, absolutely. Absolutely. So I'll probably be on here for another 6-7 minutes or so. So any sort of last minute questions? Top 3 for sure. Yeah, definitely 6 billion. Definitely 6 billion. I'll eat my shoe if it isn't. Also, I plug the theme park dudes thing. 6 billion. If you haven't checked out his videos, go do so, because he's got this really great series of like ranking all the houses that he's been through. That's a series that I tune into when there's a new part. So, definitely a good just kind of see the perspectives and stuff. Very interesting. Just want to do that little plug there for you, 6 billion. You've been in here. 6 billion was the first person in here, so got to give a shout out. Before in mass, I would love to have seen a house based on twisted takes on Victorian literature, Jekyll from Earth to the Moon, Christmas Carol, War of the Worlds. Christmas Carol will be perfect for Scary Tales house. I think like a Scary Tales. Okay, imagine like Scary Tales Christmas version with Christmas Carol and like Night Before Christmas and maybe like the Nutcracker. I think those would be interesting if they did like a Scary Tales style house for like those three. do like a Christmas holiday style for Scary Tales. When I was doing my Dream House video, it was between or Dream Map video. It was between Slaughter Cinema Holiday Special, or Scary Tales Holiday Special. So definitely one that I think is very, very interesting. Let's see. Something about this year feels huge. Almost anniversary years. Yeah, there's good vibes all around. Good vibes all around. We're excited. We're ready. It's 1 week. I'm ready. 6 billion. Yeah. Yeah, no, 6 billion's got a great channel. 6 billion's got a great channel out there for Halloween Hornets stuff and other haunt stuff. How's zone you're most least excited for? So I kind of talked about this in the beginning. The question of like most excited for, I said Dueling Dragons and Oddfellow for houses. Those are my two most excited for houses. But then Scare Zones, Jungle of Doom, easily for my most excited for. Because that one jumped. I was excited for it because I like this kind of jungle vibe. But after they did all the props with the planes and all the set pieces, it looks complete and it's so layered. It looks like such a layered Scare Zone. And I love the Scare Zones like that. It's not like, here's one big set piece and here's everything else. It's like, no, there's stuff everywhere. And you kind of have to look at the details. So definitely. I won't say least excited because I feel like I'm excited for everything. And I have a whole hype list video. If you want to see like a full hype list, that's on the channel as well. If you want to see like more detail, talking about this matter. I have a really good feeling about Darkest Deal. I think Darkest Deal is going to be really interesting. I think that might be one that a lot of people are not expecting. At first I thought that a lot of people were going to be excited for this one, but for me, I'm not seeing it very high and talked about. I'm like, oh no, okay, this might be our sleeper. I feel like Darkest Deal could be our sleeper for the year. Yeah, I think it's one that could be really, really interesting, really well made, and well produced. Really well, and it's story-wise as well, too, for sure. Okay, so I'm going to be heading out here in a few minutes, so any last-minute questions or comments or anything, let me know and leave it in the chat. But I think a lot of people can't really picture how it's going to work. Yeah, I think that's true. I think there's a lot of lots of stuff happening here. So I think that is also very true. Kima Dog, I missed the tale about Brujo. It was in full Spanish and made me love with it. Yeah, I know. I think that there's a lot. I feel like this is going to cater to specific people. I feel like this is going to definitely be one that you have to be of a specific sort of like vibe. If you can feel the vibe, I feel like you can get into this one and get into the story. Because I feel like this is going to be very story driven. This and Blood Moon. I said that before, I think, in the stream. Blood Moon and this, I think, are going to be your big story houses of the year. Oddfellow as well, but I think story more than vibes. Yeah. Darkest Deal looks great. It looks like a really fun house. Like, I know there's a lot of people, like 6 Billion said, like, you can't really picture it, but I mean, I don't know, maybe I feel like we're gonna be seeing some interesting sort of club settings, maybe some like rural settings. Maybe we're going into the collector's realm or whatever. It's very, very interesting. There, Harry says it's very obscure, but I love to see a dogscape house. Yeah, I think a spinning tunnel will be really cool if we're going into like some special dimension, like going into. Like, if we were going into the Zodiac dimension in a house, I feel like that would be perfect for that. But I don't think we are. I don't think Oddfellow is going to take us to the Zodiac realm because we're having the Zodiac Scare Zone. So, yeah. Fingers crossed for the spinning tunnel. It's funny when doing the 3D video. There's a lot of talk about There's a lot of talk about the spinning tunnel, and that was a common theme that I saw in a lot of videos, and I was like, wow. Spinning tunnel is a big deal. 3D video, amount of how cool the original 3D houses were. Yeah, they're kind of underrated. Some of them. I mean, some of them, I'm not seeing Funhouse of Fear being like an all-time great haunted house or anything, but like Afterlife, I feel like had a very underrated storyline. Like the In-Between, like that house, and especially because now we're getting the references sort of in the comic tribute store, which seemed kind of weird because we posted the video the same day that facade dropped and they had all those Easter eggs. So it's kind of like it was like a serendipitous kind of thing there. But yeah, I think I'm gonna end it here. I want to thank you all for hopping in here. One more comment. If Uzumaki gets a house, they have to spinning title. Again, I'm not too familiar with that, but sure. I can't say whether I will have to look into that. Dogscape, Uzumaki, looking more into it for sure. But anyway, I want to thank you all for coming to the live stream, hanging out with me. I want to do more of these. I say that every time, but I want to do more of these. Maybe if I could find time next week to do one more before the event starts, that would be really, really fun. Yeah, I just want to say thank you all for the love and the support recently on all the videos. I know y'all are here. Y'all are the real ones. So I do 100% appreciate all the love on every one of the videos. And I have more coming. I have more, obviously, vlogs from Halloween Horror Nights, but I also want to do some more history videos and stuff during the, like, while the event's happening. So definitely that kind of stuff. But thank you all. Feel so bad for not being in stream last time, but I'm happy to thank you for the congratulations. 1.5K. It's crazy. We're growing so fast. Like, I can't even believe it. But I'm going to head out of here. So everyone have a good night or good day or good evening or afternoon or wherever you're at. And I'll see you on the next video. Probably going to come out on Sunday. I'm shooting it tomorrow. Probably going to come out on Sunday. So I'll see you then. Thanks, everybody.